Fort Jesus Warriors Club. Topic: this Weber bubble cries for protection. Kariangofo is on the warpath today. It's going to talk about a bubble that surrounds this beautiful planet. Remember last time I talked about oil and the parasol effect, or the umbrella effect, or the insulating effect it has on the Earth's surface, or the lithosphere, protecting us from the hot radiation from the magma of the Earth. You've seen volcanic eruptions, molten soil, molten rocks being ejected from the interior of the Earth. So petrol plays a very important part in that protection, so that the heat from inside the Earth is kept within. But it's not only petrol. Also, the water that we have underground. There was very heavy cultivation in California, and the land also in places where a lot of that had been done sank. That water is also an insulator. The gas that we love mining and removing, God placed it there for that particular purpose. All these other things, the rocks that we have within. So when we are doing our mining, we should be very careful. We should limit our mining activities, not be wasteful. Because apart from that part being just the surface, you see the hard part, the earth is flexible. The magma is moving like a liquid. This is it's just like when you boil porridge and then the top part is cool. That cover can be easily broken. When you release that top layer of the porridge, you enter into the heat of the porridge. That is what we've been doing, removing the layer that covers from under. The earth is a very hot place. The center is very hot. You've seen it in volcanoes, we all know. So most of the minerals that we mine have been protecting us, giving us that parasol effect. But coming from there, because that is the solid matter, the solid sphere of the earth from the magma, they call it lithosphere. We have the other time there in the previous videos I talked about water. Water of the ocean covers the earth. It also has that cooling effect on the magma of the earth. You see, this is for our protection. God made it for our protection. Otherwise, the heart would be too hot. We will die. Then, above that, because there is the lithosphere, that is the solid part, the rocks and all that, where I'm telling you the water is acting as an insulator. The gas we are mining is acting as an insulator. Many of the rocks we are mining carelessly are acting as insulators. There is a distance that has been created away from the center of the earth. When it collapses, the gravity increases, the heat increases. This is something that has happened in those places that are collapsed. If they have collapsed deep enough, there is a difference in a gravitational pull, a difference in temperature, and many things go haywire. But above that, God was also merciful. We are a very protected planet. There is a sphere, a gas sphere. The Greeks called it atmosphere, vapor circle. But ours has got different layers. So let's delve into this layer by layer, and then we find how important this thing is for our existence and for existence of life. We're starting with the atmosphere where we live, up to around 9 to 18 kilometers above the ground. This is a place we live. Most animals live here. It has a greenhouse effect because when the rays of the sun come, they hit, and if reflected, if there's nothing to slow down the reflection, we will have no heat on earth. So it contains the heat. That's why the earth is warm. This is the place where clouds form. This is a place where our atmosphere, like we have around 21% oxygen, as around 79% nitrogen, and argon. Argon is a small percentage, around 1%, and these are the small gases. So the largest volume of gases is nitrogen, followed by oxygen. And an interesting phenomenon occurs within this area. This is where clouds form. This is where rain forms. This is where lightning strikes nitrogen to produce nitrates for the soil. A fertilizer, God given. This is where the cooling effect of the earth takes place, because when the water gets hot, it evaporates, carrying away the heat to the upper spheres, and then drops back as rain. It is the most concentrated part of this air sphere. Then we go to a second part above that. It's a cool part. Most of the time it's around 0 degrees, something like that. It's a very cold part. But there is a gap in between. A gap between the atmosphere and the next, the mesosphere. There is a gap there, a mixture of the two. That is where most of our high-flying planes fly. That's where birds that fly high, like the geese and like the eagles, fly. That is where the highest planes fly. Then there is the mesosphere. Many of the planes also fly within that range. That's why we don't hear much of the sound, because when the sound goes up to the mesosphere area, most of it is reflected back. So when something is above there, you are not likely to hear. That's why many high-flying jets pass and you won't hear a thing. And it is within this area that there is a lot of air movement, and sometimes gaps are created, different air masses are created, and when planes go, you bump into something like the bumps on the road. It's this air. It's a great protection. The mesosphere is cool, cold. That's why we had the saying, the higher you go, the colder it becomes. People did not understand, because when you go up, the radiation is coming from up. Why is it cold? And it's very cold up there. Cold, cold, cold. Then when you go to the mesosphere, it's a bit less dense. It offers protection also to the earth. You go higher, you go to the troposphere. It's higher than that, the temperature starts rising. But it is less in pressure. So though the temperatures rise, you are not able to feel that impact much. And then we go to the thermosphere. Here the temperature rises, but the density of the air is light. So there is a rise in temperature. And then we've talked of thermosphere, yeah. And then we go higher to the magnetosphere. There is a part that extends within that, and you go up to between the earth and the moon. Our sphere extends up to there. It provides a magnetic protection so that when the rays from the sun, because the sun is ejecting a very strong wind called solar wind, continuous, there is a continuous wind of particles from the sun all the time. And this wind and the rays that come have very destructive effect on life and things of that nature. So this magnetic shield deflects most of that. Then you come to these others, they deflect radiation from the stars. And as you come closer, because out there the earth is moving at an incredible speed. Incredible speed. Almost, is it around 2,000 kilometers? Is it per second? That is the speed it's moving at. Very fast. Faster than the fastest plane we have. All these things are in motion. And where they are moving, there are rocks, there's dust, there are all that. And when the dust or the rocks come and hit the atmosphere, they ignite. So they burn. It protects that from hitting the earth's surface. We are down here feeling cozy, feeling relaxed. And God's umbrella is protecting us. That is from the magnetic umbrella, we have this air umbrella that burns everything that comes in. That's why you see, they call them meteorites or falling stars. Those are rocks that have come from space. They would have hit and wounded people down here. But when they hit the air, they burn until they get finished. It's very large rocks that sometimes burn and a small piece hits the earth. And some parts that hit the earth, even if it's a small piece, it has a damaging effect. Something like a room can form a crater if it hits the earth. So the earth protects us in that manner. This is a very good arrangement by God. Up there, we've heard of the ozone layer. Ozone is oxygen that occurs in a molecule of 3. The oxygen we breathe is in a molecular formula of 2. So what happens? One of the molecules will always migrate, leaving it to be normal oxygen, and then combine, making it ozone. Ozone is poisonous to life, by the way. It is used to disinfect. Railway tunnels are all those places where germs may be, and it smells almost like chlorine. So ozone is poisonous, oxygen is our life line. That's the things that God has made. And we talked about misuse of fossil fuels. When we misuse fossil fuels, certain things happen. One, there is a lot of carbon that goes up in the atmosphere. It increases the blanket effect. So a lot, just like a greenhouse. So a lot of heat is retained on the earth. And that's why the ice is melting, because we have ejected so much carbon and so much carbon dioxide. But when there are summits to call for people to stop that, even with the high engineering, because now they are flying cars, those are planes. The motorbikes are using electricity, cars are using electricity, trains are using electricity, but we are kept on oil. It is damaging the atmosphere. The scientists were studying the polar ice, and they were saying we are almost reaching a situation where if we don't stop, then whatever we shall do will not save. The temperatures will keep increasing and damage everything. So this is the time. This is the time we have to stop everything, reduce the use of those fossil fuels, and for those who have come up with this technology, please make it cheap. Avail it for the sake of the life on this planet. It's an emergency. It's not something to hide that I've got this, I'll sell and make a kill. No. Because the scientists say, and we all know, that if it reaches a certain point, there are temperatures that when it will hit, whatever we do to save the ozone, whatever we do to do whatever will not stop anything. We shall be waiting for the temperatures to rise until when we cannot be able to bear the temperatures anymore. And as the temperatures rise, the ice that is in the poles, because that is a lot of water. Previously, that ice has not been melting. What was happening was the ice between the ocean and the land would freeze, and then during the hot season it would melt, evaporate, fall as rain, and freeze. But now the mass of ice where water was stored is it dissolving? Yeah, and the sea ocean is going to increase. The level increasing means that lands where people had reclaimed land from the ocean, like Denmark, most of it may go under the ocean. Cities like London, cities like Lagos, cities like Mombasa, cities like New York, cities across the coast are likely to be submerged. That will be the first effect. There'll be changes in temperatures. There'll be increase in ocean temperature, and many of the planktons that give us oxygen, because 80% of the oxygen we use on this world comes from the ocean. Those green plants, microscopic, and that produce almost that. 20% comes from the land. So we risk reducing that. And what will happen? A place like Portugal, you could not imagine there could be forest fires. You could not imagine. But recently, places where you could not expect forest fires, the climate has changed. It's hot. Becomes dry. You get a forest fire. Wow. And when we are told we have to change our ways, no. The economy of the world will fall. The economy of the world will fall. Scientists have studied another planet that is exactly the same size as Earth. It is moving around the sun the way we are moving around the sun. Many people call it the morning star, Venus. Venus temperatures have spiraled. It's around, is it 400 or 800 degrees centigrade all over the planet. It can melt lead. That is the temperature. Now, people of the earth with these cool temperatures, tell me, is the economy on Venus very good or is it very bad? Those who are experts in economy, Please tell me. I know I'm not as intelligent as many of you may say, but reality be first. When temperatures spiral, we shall die. That is the thing that is there. Living things will die. And of all the discoveries, of all the probes that we have said, we've never found a planet like Earth. Never. There isn't. So there's no place to move to. That is the situation. We don't have an alternative. So the thing is this. We can talk of economy, let things spiral. Maybe some of the people within our may not be able to, because once things spiral, the temperatures will rise so fast, we shall die. What is the economy of a dead man? A dead planet. So with these things that are there, please, let's tone down. Because right now, we are at a critical stage. It is almost there. And the countries that are supposed to take care of that all joke. We talk of it happens, we shall have a bare economy. Hey, everything will collapse. We can be able to adjust our economy with the discoveries that we have made. We can be able to cut down. Not everything must come from oil. Not every gas place must be mined. We have even caused accidents. There is a place where people are mining and something fell and the gas field has been burning for years. That's an increase in temperature of a place where that thing was supposed to act as a parasol. These are things that have effect on climate change. Movement of water to make hydroelectric dams have affected the rotation of the earth. The scientists don't tell you that. It has, many of the dams have slowed the earth by some microseconds. The earth slowing is not a good thing. And the earth is very sensitive. Some earthquakes have also caused that to happen. And we talked of earthquakes that come from too much extraction of oil. No wonder it was written that there'll be wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes. If we mess these things, the Nobel Prize winner, an environmentalist from Kenya here, Wangari Maathai, said, don't mess with Mother Nature. She is very unforgiving. These slight changes have caused us tsunamis. They have caused us, you can imagine, if the earth acts in anger full scale, where shall we be? So let's not pretend. There are some places, like some places in India, sometimes when there was so much pollution, it had started raining, acid rain, rain that corrodes the roofs. Acid rain. But no, we are not supposed to be worried about that. The economy will get spoiled. The migration of birds has been affected. Bees are reducing. Bees are the ones that help us in pollination. The number of bees has reduced. In a country like Israel now, they have the bees that they keep moved from greenhouse to greenhouse. So you see the danger where we are getting. The other time you didn't have to mind about the butterflies to do this job, the bees to do this job. It's coming a time when we are going to look for these pollinators and we may not find them. Something that was natural. That will affect the food production. So the things that we are doing carelessly are affecting our planet in a manner that we may not be able to reverse. I'm calling upon people who have got the life, posterity of this planet at Earth. People who would like this Earth to support life for a longer time, because the life we know, the kind of protection from the atmosphere to the lithosphere to the hydrosphere. No planet matches this one. Of the planets we know, we guess others that are light years away. They may be having temperatures as good as Earth or better than Earth. We don't know. But of those known that we have visited, this is the best. There is none like this. There is none. So, when we are destroying, we don't have an alternative. There's no place to go. This is a case where somebody wanted a rat to die. And he took the poison and waited for the rat to die. You can guess who died. Earth is very vibrant. God has created the earth to protect us. It is Mother Earth. It protects us with all the love and care. But if we are careless, just like Martha Wangari said, Wangari Maathai, Wangari Maathai said, this earth is very unforgiving. It's very unforgiving. See, Venus is still moving around, the morning star, with acid rain. Most of the atmosphere was compressed. So now you cannot go. The pressure is too much. It will crush you. When we are letting these things get closer to the earth, the gravity is going to increase. It will reach a point where it will crush things that we normally take for granted. So while God gave us a beautiful planet, we have destroyed it much. But from this point onwards, we can be able to make a change. For the sake of life on this planet and for the sake of posterity. This is an appeal to mankind. An appeal to human. You understand what is happening. There's no economy when you are dead. There's no economy when there's no life. And there are the economies that we can be able to make with these new things. Let's be very careful when you are dealing with nature. Let's conserve, not misuse. Let's recycle. Many of the things that we have now, metals and whatever, in fact, the metal we have exceed whatever we need. Why don't we recycle and make things from that? We have used a lot of plastics. Why don't we recycle? Even this clothing material that we use, you can shred and do it and come up with something new. Let's recycle. Let's use things that you can plant like plants. You can be able to replant again. But above all, let us give the earth the plant cover, the forest cover it used to have, it deserves, for our own protection, not for the earth's protection. The earth can do without us. We can't do without her. So humankind, like Chico Chimora said, listen to the words of wisdom. I know people are going to say, what about this guy is not a learned scientist in these fields he's talking about? No, I'm a mediocre geographer. Did a bit of geography, just at degree level. Not much. But this is a reality that everybody knows. We cannot run away from it. We cannot run away from it. Let's be real. Is it the dead economy and dead people? Or is it conservation for posterity? The choice is ours. Even the Bible said we were given authority to take care of the earth and other animals on behalf of God. Are we living up to that? Or are we betraying that call from God? Question is yours. Do not let a few people let the earth go to waste. Because you may fear they're in powers, you may fear they're powerful countries, But this effect will not spare them, neither will it spare you. So shout when the time is still there. This is a worldwide call. Let's fight for preservation of Mother Earth. Let's pray to God to help us. Let's fight for Mother Earth. That is my take for now.